I think Cesar can actually check this. Let me just.
I can see a copy streaming link option. I'm gonna put here
Yeah,
in the chat.
exactly.
Here you go.
Yep, here we are.
I can see a copy streaming link option.
And I can see and hear you on YouTube already. So we're on the go. So Carol, I'm not sure. It's Carol Cardenas Castro, isn't it?
Sorry, it was mute. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
Carol Cardenas Castro.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just checking because since we're doing the speech in English, I would like to welcome everybody who's here, who's watching us today, especially you guys, especially you for being available to talk to us about this, since it's extremely important nowadays for us to actually be paying loads of attention to our mental health, and also, to be able to uh, um, maybe customize it to the environment we're working on. So it's really, really nice to have you here, Carol, and I'll let you speak to you for yourself, actually, since you're the one who have obviously got the expertise. Go on. It's really nice to have you.
Thank you very much for this invitation. I'm amazed with the opportunity to talk with you about one of my passions, that is software, and also how can that interact with psychology. I'm a psychologist, but also I'm a sport and exercise psychologist. I've been working in the industry for over 4 years at S4N, that is a Colombian-based company with distributed teams in the Americas. And well, I told you I'm actually a sports psychologist, and maybe some of you can say or might say, wait a minute, like, what is the relationship between sports and software development? And please, I want to interact with you. So let me ask you, and you can write it on the chat. What skills do you think are needed in terms of on soft skills are needed for sports? If you have practiced a sport or if you have been watching the Olympics, what do you think they need to perform? I'm going to look at the chat.
We've got 7. Can you hear me, Carol? Yeah, we've got
Yes.
7 people so far, and I'm not sure. They're not saying anything for the moment, but well, I've been watching the Olympics, and we've had a very similar, a very elementary example of what you need to be there, the mental strength that you need to be performing at high levels, in what happened to Simone Biles just yesterday, right? She went out of the competition, and in her case, I do believe that what she did was extreme. It was actually for her health, since there's so many things involved with that thing over there. But then she also has a very good team behind her and supporting her in her decisions. So that's just really, Well, Ana Marcela is going for, it's Ana Hera saying that concentration is extremely necessary also. Your microphone is muted again.
Yes, thank you. Yes, concentration and mental health are really important on the sport, but also we can find other skills that are important, like being focused, that is related to attention and concentration, also to remember a set of rules that are needed for the sport, that implies memory. Also, there are a lot of emotions involved in the execution, and that those can have both a positive or a negative effect on the results. The athletes and the teams have to solve unexpected problems as well. And they have to make decisions right on the spot. Sometimes they have more time, but that's not that common. And if we add or introduce the team variable, it makes things more difficult, right? And the question is how people can manage the team and the teammates and the communication and teamwork and everything else. I can keep going on giving examples of soft skills required on sports, but I want to make another question. Can these questions be applied to software development? Like when we talk with our developers, we have found that they face the same issues, but in this environment, they also have to be really focused on the task. They have to solve problems. They have to work in teams. Their emotions related to something is working, something is not working. I'm having problems with the client. I'm not too sure about what am I doing, are the same, just in this context. So our answer is yes. And sports and performance psychology have been working on answering these and other questions for years. So what we did was applied sport psychology techniques and methods to software development. And we have succeeded on it. So in this session, what I'm going to do is share with you what we have been applying in our teams to make them high performance teams, as we have high performance athletes and teams, improving their psychological performance while taking care of their mental health, as you mentioned, Cecilia, and help them to have like well-being. How do we do this? Well, first, I'm going to introduce you to sports and performance psychology and the psychological factors related to performance. Second place, I'm going to talk about the method we adapt at S4N. And finally, I'm going to talk about the challenges we are facing right now. So let me start with sports psychology. The main goal of sports psychology is to understand how psychological factors influence motor performance, and also to understand how physical activity influences a person's development, health, and well-being. To give you an example, if we have a tennis player, we want to know how psychological factors such as emotions, memory, attention, teamwork influence his or her performance, but also how being a tennis player influences people's development, health, and well-being. The first study in sports psychology was years ago, more than 100 years ago. And the topic this researcher started thinking about was motivation in cyclists. And he found that when cyclists competed against each other, like having someone in parallel, they run faster, they cycle faster than being alone. And this can have a lot of explanations. And that was just the starting point to make this new application of psychology, applicate that to sports. This application began to be applied to more trainings and competences. It cross borders and include different countries with excellent results. And since then, the field has been increasingly, constantly, now that we are in the Olympics, almost each team has its own psychologist as part of the medical team that accompany them. More recently, these techniques and methodologies have been applied to high performance, other high performance areas like arts, especially dance, and also in business, and also with excellent results. As far as we know, S4N is the first software development company to apply sports psychologists to train software development teams. And we are really proud of it, of course. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about the term soft skills. because when I started working in technology, the use of the expression soft skills was quite strange to me. I didn't know what that stands for. Because when I think in something soft, I'm thinking something like a marshmallow, like something squishy, weak, something. And if something is like that, I relate the concept with something that is less relevant or important. And of course, I don't think psychology is weak at all, and psychological factors are not weak at all. It's something hard, it's something difficult to work, right? But I did a little research to find out why there were and found a multitude of ideas and examples, but no concrete definition. This distinction between soft and hard seems to come from Cartesian dualism. That's really old and outdated. We have to change that. And recently, different authors are proposing other expressions such as social skills, essential skills, interpersonal skills, socio-emotional skills, core skills, and a lot of them. But as I said, no consensus yet. We also can find other concepts, related concepts like psychological processes, abilities, attitudes, skills, and competences. I'm not going to elaborate on the difference between these concepts at the moment, but I will tell you that first, we really want to change the term soft skills. And second, that these concepts you are seeing on the screen are based on the delimitation of that what can be learned, what can be trained, and what mainly depends on the context of the person. So, and spoiler alert, all of these can be modified. Okay, going back to the term soft skills, at S4N, we decide to call them relational skills. And this is how I will refer to them from here on, but also I'm going to use psychological skills, and it's the same for us. And why did we decide to call them like that? Because these skills help us to relate, to have better relationships with others, and that possibility of interact properly with others and getting to know, and also being able to have better relationship with ourselves, with our thoughts, our feelings, is fundamental for our well-being, but for forming high-performance teams. And in this company, we really believe that software goes beyond technology. We believe this is a social construction. Hence, relational skills are key. And the significance of these skills are evident at different moments of the developer's working life. Since I start working about team sports, I will continue with that metaphor along with this story. So we have a recruitment process. Job offers include in their description requirements such as teamwork, as uncertainty management, as experience in challenging environments, effective communication, and so on. Is something coaches look for in recruitment too. Also, technical and non-technical interviewers are attentive to indicators of a candidate's communication, how do they solve problems, and the way they solve these problems or react to the questions are really important for the compensation and for having a job offer. And the same occurs when an athlete is tested. What if we can work on that? Like working on the person to prepare them for these interviews, but not just to approve an interview, but to really change the way they think. I change the way they solve problems, they communicate, they express themselves. That's the question we're trying to solve. Then let's say this person start working with us, and there are a lot of more challenges he's going to face interacting with others. Like teamwork is important nowadays. No one develop, or not many people develop a software product by himself. But also there are normal stress related to the work of creating software and Some people change their motivations and don't know what is their purpose, and emotions can change constantly depending on how the project is going. There are some beliefs that affects the interaction with clients or with other people, with the boss, and with people themselves. And that's something that is really important too, is how to give and receive feedback. It's not that easy to listen to others saying what you can do better. Some people is good at receiving that feedback. Some people are not that good. Again, with a soccer player or an NBA player, we train that because they face the same problems in when they are in training, but also when they are competing. And again, it is not easy, and it's nothing we have to do for given. And well, there are a lot of more examples of soft skills, relational skills, and performance. And this is not something new. Some companies have been trying to deal with this issue for years, and they offer boot camps, talks, courses to help employees to improve their skills. Most of these approaches use pre-designed content that they replicate to different groups of people, and they are not always adapt to the real needs of the particular population that can be applied to every person. And they are used to be given just once, like one talk per year or a boot camp per year. And they assume that the person and the team are going to apply every technique easily, and that you can boost leadership with a talk. And that's not how it works. That's not what we have found. The way we work is we are part of the team. We are a team mate with a different role than the developers. Actually, at S4N, we are part of the leaders. And it ensures that we have a basic knowledge of software development and what it implies. We know the terms, we know the rhythms and the dynamics of the product and the project and how the project is going. We also know the daily struggles of the team because we are in the meetings, we know what is happening every time. We get to know a lot of aspects from the employees, their psychological profile, their needs, how they work with others, and that's completely different for other approaches. We plan our interviews based on what they really need and what's happening in the moment. And that also ensures that we can sustain the changes on time. I'm going to start getting deeper on the method here. We have to use knowledge from different disciplines. This is just a list of those. We use principles of sports training. We use social psychology, physiology, neurology, and neuropsychology, but also psychometrics. So it's a complete framework we use to train our teams and our people. These areas are huge. So what we do is to simplify the psychological phenomena to be able to explain it like in simple terms. We use 4 big expressions of psychological things and are those behavior, thoughts, emotion, and psychological reactions. All of these analyze in response to a particular context and with a particular purpose. Now I'm going to need your help, please, to help me put this into practice. I choose a behavior that most of us can relate to, and it's a common need, public speaking. Okay, you ready? This is going to be a hypothetical situation. I hope it can be true someday, but let's say that I'm going to invite you to talk to my coworkers, 500 of us, about the project you are currently working on. So it's not something you don't know. Can you imagine the situation? Please take a minute to imagine. I'm going to give you a bit more of information so you can imagine it better. It's going to be next week. For some of them can be pressure. We are going to use a virtual platform because, you know, pandemic. And you can see our faces on the screen. We don't speak Portuguese, so I'm asking you to use your best Spanish or English. If everyone is on the scene, I'm going to ask you questions. Please feel free to write them. It can help us to understand and to see what other things think. Okay, here are the questions. What emotions or feelings are you experiencing?
I'm checking here on YouTube.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, there's just a little lag between what we're saying inside the meet and what goes into YouTube. So they're kind of, it takes a little while. So I've got anxiety here going on. And well, if I might say something, it'd be, yeah, anxious, maybe nervous. Also looking forward to it, but that's just my case. Yeah.
Like excitement.
Yeah, some excitement, yes.
Great.
Come on, everybody, say something else. You guys.
Maybe others are panic or block.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, some people may be happy, some people may be like, oh my God, like, I don't know what to feel because it's overwhelming. That happens too. Some people can say like, I don't know, but I'm going to talk about that later. The second question is, what are your thoughts in this moment? What are you thinking about?
Maybe I'm checking to see if there's anything going on here. Well, I myself probably would be going over everything I need to present, you know?
Like making a plan.
Yeah, kind of. And sort of winging it also, but maybe just kind of running over in my brain everything I need to talk about, seeing if I really know what I need to talk about. And, yeah.
I would be trying to anticipate some questions and start thinking about possible answers.
Great. It's sort of planning too. Okay. Third question is the last one. What sensations do you feel in your body?
Butterflies in my stomach.
Okay. Is it the same word in Portuguese? You talk about butterflies?
In Portuguese, we kind of say that we have, you have a cold. In English, when you say you have a cold shiver going down your spine, right? But we kind of say that you've got a cold something in your tummy.
Okay.
That equals butterflies in a way.
Okay. So sensations. Cesar, did you feel something else? Different?
Yeah, I would just say the same.
Okay, thank you. This exercise, like answering 3 questions, seems simple, but it has its tricks. We have found not all people have the same capacity for introspection. And that's the reason some people can say, like, I really don't know, I'm not sure, I cannot put this into words. And that's something we have found with software developers a lot, because our hypothesis is that you don't really know how to interact with yourself sometimes. Well, I'm overgeneralizing, but it's not that true. Like some of the people, most of the people we have talked with. So it's difficult to see. For you guys, tends to be more like easier to work with problems outside you, but inside is another issue. So it's common if you don't just say, I don't know. And that's the first thing we have to work, like this skill, this ability to think about yourself. If we can already analyze ourselves and identify our reactions, we can have a response like as the following. I'm going to tell you what I thought about when Cesar talked to me. And well, my thoughts at first was like, oh my God, it's my first time doing a presentation in English. This is important for me because this is huge. I love what I'm doing, but in English, why? I hope I do well. And I have been in this roller coaster, like, yes, I am the greatest. I can do this, but also, oh my God, no. I hope my pronunciation is correct. And well, a lot of things. My feelings were at first anxiety, but also excitement. But I have been in that roller coaster too. About my physiological reactions, okay, now I'm a bit like hot, but like 30 minutes before I was really cold. My heartbeat has been increasing according to my watch, but well, it's more stable right now. And I know there are a lot of things happening in my body. But that's what it is, right? And each one of us feel and think and behave in a different way. But let me tell you something. All of these are susceptible to modification and are trainable. No matter if you have a presentation with 500 people or 3 people, or if you are anxious or if you feel super confident, we can help you to train the skills that can make your performance better. And you might ask, how can you do that? Because I don't know if you have a saying, because in Spanish we have one, it's like people cannot, people are born with the ability. And so if you weren't born with that ability, you cannot learn that. Or this idiom that if you are old, you cannot learn. Do you have something like that? Or if other people
Yeah,
knows
we do.
different languages?
We kind of have an expression like that, which is like cachorro velho não aprende truque novo, eu acho, I think. It's like an
Amazing.
old dog won't learn new tricks or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe is that in English? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll be translating, but we do have something like that in Portuguese, yes.
Okay, because in Spanish or in Colombia at least, we have not a dog, but a parrot that cannot learn. But that's not true, and we are not dogs or parrots, but that's also not true for dogs and parrots. Some people also say, no, if you want to improve, let's say, your communication, you only can obtain that with experience, with years of experience. Or you need like a critical event in your life that makes you change, like, I don't know, someone's is dead, or you lose a really good opportunity. No, what I'm going to tell you right now is that first, those are myths, and second, we can train those skills. No matter your age, no matter how experienced you are, no matter if you are professional, if you have a doctorate, no matter if you are people, we can help you. And I have talked a lot about training, but let me give you a quick concept. Training people implies a systematic process. It's not just one time. It requires a process with goals, with contents, with methods, with techniques that are defined and schedule and program and plan to make the person be the best version of themselves. It's not easy. It's something we have to do daily until it's automated. And trust me, I know how it is. I have to do that with myself too, because I know I can improve. And I know it's not something easy. And I cannot do that alone. I also have people who help me to improve. And some of you can say, like, why do you need a psychologist if there are a lot of tools available in books on the internet? But having that availability doesn't imply that everything is good for everyone, or that follow tips or advice is going to help you improve. It's like when you visit a place, you don't know, like traveling gets easier if you have a guide with you. And that is what we as psychologists can be. So how do we train people and teams at S4M? We follow 3 simple steps, and I will show you in this table you are watching right now. We have 3 populations and 3 phases. Remember, our main goal is to have high performance teams, which includes working on the performance on the individual and their well-being, but also to understand the team needs, the project, and the dynamics with the client. Everything is in the framework of the company strategy and culture. So this is kind of systemic too. Having that in mind, we do a diagnosis or an evaluation with each actor. This diagnosis includes psychological tests, interviews, and observations in team ceremonies. According to the needs, they can start an individual accompaniment or a group training. And the intervention has 3 parts. The first one is psychoeducation, in which we explain the psychological process and how it impacts performance and well-being. This explanation is important because people want to know what's going on, want to understand, and that makes change better and faster. After that, we have to practice the skills a lot in different contexts, in different moments. And the advantage we have is that they can apply those learnings immediately with the teams, but we also tell them, like, please practice this with your family, with your friends, so the skill can be learned and automated faster. And finally, we have to know how the teams are going and if the intervention is working. So we evaluate the results. And this iterative process helps us to evolve, improve, and provide help faster. We also provide help to the company's strategic initiatives, serving as a bridge between the development teams and the support teams. Okay, our results. We divide our results into 4 groups: training, accompaniment, numbers, and the team. In training, we have developed 11 training programs that are finished, designed according to the needs we have found on the teams. Here it's important to highlight that the skill they want to improve the most is communication. And this is important because it has impact on reducing times in ceremonies. People is more accurate with their needs and obstacles. This helps to create user stories, reduce misunderstandings, and many other good consequences of working on communication. The second one that is really important for us is the coping skills training, because here people learn how to cope better with normal stress, but also with stress that is not normal. People are more flexible, like when they are facing a problem. Levels of self-criticism have been decreasing, And social support, problem solving, and cognitive restructuring have been increasing. So that makes people happier at work. And I'm going to say it again, this can be used with families, with friends. So it's something that is really changing lives. Our intervention in assistance, this is an intervention we do when rare cases appear. For example, this topic of habits was a thing last year when we have to move to 100% remote working because of the pandemic. And we work on habits, on how to like live with the family right now, what can people do with their kids that are, everyone is at home. We created plans to learn how to work remotely, and sadly we have to work on grief processes associated with the loss of loved ones. Something no one was prepared to, but we wanted to help our employees. We also work in this kind of intervention when people is in risk of burnout, because as we are part of the team, we can detect and prevent burnout. We don't have to wait until the person is just like really sick of everything. And we also have the intervention, a specific intervention when someone is facing difficulties in their performance to help them improve and close the gaps might appear. Our numbers, since we began registering our sessions in 2019, we have trained 447 partners. Partners is the name we gave to our employees. We have worked on more than 150 projects, and we have, well, this 5,000, and is not updated. We reached the 6,000 this week training sessions, and we have worked on more than 41 topics, and the count keeps increasing, but the analysis of the data, that's one of our challenges. Finally, about results, we are covering 90% of the total employee population, including support teams like administrative teams that have to face a lot of problems too. And let me introduce you to my team. I love them. 4 years ago, there was just one psychologist, it was me, but now we are these people, 15 of us. We have one psychologist for every 30 employees. We are part of the leaders of the company. And as far as I know, this is not happening in other companies. And for me, this is amazing, is how we can work together, like engineering and computer science and psychologists. We can do a lot of great things. And we have done this, and we have this support from the company because we have shown our value, because we attract and we retain people, because no one is doing the same as we are doing. And for people, it's really important that we honestly, we really care about people, and we are really trying to improve the quality of life and the well-being of the employees and their significant others. And in these times when salary offers are sky high, we have found that caring about people is the differential. Finally, I'm finishing here. I want to talk to you about the challenges we're facing. Okay, the first one is we have all of this data, but we haven't analyzed that. And this is because our priority is to intervene the teams, not to investigate about that. But we are working on it with all the data we have. Another thing we want to know is, well, another challenge first is we have to talk more about this. We have to write. We want to receive feedback from others. That's the reason this opportunity is amazing for me, because I'm expecting to receive like comments, suggestions from you that help us to improve. And also, we want to know if this methodology works in other companies with different methodologies and different culture, different structures. We don't know that yet. We hope we have the opportunity soon. So to say bye and to start with the questions, we know psychological training can help software developers to have a better performance, to have a better quality of life and well-being. We are 100% sure that if social science and engineering and computer science work together, we can help to improve everyone's life. First, on the ones who receive the intervention directly, but after that spreads to our teammates, to the families, to the users of the products we create. And that has been my dream since I was a kid, thinking of being a psychologist. I was always thinking of helping people to improve and to be happier. And well, my dream is becoming true, and I want like more people to, because I know a lot of people have the same dream, and if we can help them, we are open to do it. Thank you very much for listening, and please feel free to give me all your comments, suggestions, questions. Your feedback is really important.
Great. Thank you so much, Carol. It's really nice. I really liked, I'm going to add the spotlight here just so we can speak. I'm not sure how it's translating to YouTube actually, but since you guys have been working very closely with this psychological aspect and embracing and having people in the company feel more at home and more understood, I'd like just to say that here at CESA, we also, CESA and CESA School actually, we also have that, we try to instill that kind of culture in the people who work with us, because we do understand that money only retaining people because of high salaries and having them have this work culture where you always pressured because of deadlines and things like that won't necessarily make you work better. So it would be great for us to actually be partners in this sense so that we can learn from each other. Yes, it would be really nice.
Of course, it's amazing to know that other people is caring too, and is talking openly about this that has been like a taboo. And this we will love to create and to share with you.
Yeah, because well, I think I actually made a comment earlier when I said so many things about mental health and psychosocial skills have been taboo all these times, and we're learning slowly, very slowly, but I believe we are learning as a society and as companies, and to be one of the companies that's getting there, you know, as CESA, because for example, during the pandemic, CESA and CESA School actually, we actually grew, since we are tech companies and we're now, you know, decentralized. We can onboard people from all over the world, wherever they are. And it's also a challenge to make them feel welcome, since they're not being able to be there physically and see the environment. And there are ways of communication and channels that have to be used for us to make them feel that they are CESA or S4N, for example. And since the whole pandemic burst in our faces, actually, it just accelerated so many of the things that we were already trying to do. So I believe that initiatives like yours, you know, Be Act, and this whole entrepreneurial area that is focusing on this, that's viewing that technology and software and productivity depends on the actual humans that are doing it. They're not just numbers, make a whole load of difference.
Yes, we also our team, our company is bigger now, and as you say, like hiring people from Dominican Republic, we have to be like, okay, we are Latin American too, but we are different. How are we different, and how are we similar? And we have to do what we have to do, and what do we have to do when people say like, because the pandemic is not the only problem we are facing, but hey, I'm feeling depressed because something, or I don't feel like I know what's the culture of S4N, or other companies are offering me like this amount of money, and being able to respond fast to that, I think is key. And you cannot do that alone. You have to talk to others. And we have these meetings with the person in charge of the money and the person in charge of benefits and compensation, and also like we are receiving information from the developers. That's what helps to be better.
Yeah. Pollyanna Leans asked here on YouTube, she asked if you could suggest references for those who want to go deeper into the topic.
Yes. Okay. Like 5 years, since 5 years ago, there are a lot of more papers related to, if you look for soft skills and software development, you are going to find more. But if you can let me know, please, what exactly do you want to know? Because there is a lot of information that is not related to software development. I can give you like the authors I recommend. You are on mute. You are on mute, Cecilia.
Cecilia, you're speaking? You're mute. Oh, no.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I was actually just asking her here on YouTube because we have a lag from Zoom to YouTube. And well, I'm still learning. This was the first event that I put together. So I thought it would be easier and we'd interact more a little bit with people just on YouTube. But then next time, we'll just, bring everyone into the Zoom meeting and then relay it to YouTube, because I guess that way we get some more interaction. And I'm just asking Pollyanna, anything specific?
Yes, if she wants to write, or anyone can want to write to me, I'm going to write here in the chat my email, so you can share it there.
Okay. I'm going to relay it here.
Yes, because if you want to learn, for example, about motivation, I can give you that information about problem solving or our psychological skills training. A different story.
Oh, may I ask you?
Yeah, go ahead, Cesar. Go ahead. You're there. Since
Okay.
you're real time. You're actually on screen also. I actually put you on screen here.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how this thing works here on YouTube. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm still learning. My tech knowledge is kind of weird right now. But we'll get through it. Go on, Cesar.
Okay, no problem. First of all, it's a great pleasure to have you here, Carol. Thank you for accepting our invitation to share your experience with this soft skills training. I think that we could learn a lot from your presentation. My first curiosity is you told that more than 400 people were already trained in your processes. I wonder if there is any specific pattern for software engineers, which skills they lack most. What is there something that you could
Yes.
tell us on that?
That question is amazing. Yes, the first one, as I said, is
Just can I just interrupt just a tiny little
Yes.
second? Pollyanna just answered here, and she meant social skills training for technology. She meant exactly that. So
We have to write about that, but I haven't found. To be honest, I haven't found.
okay.
But there is a paper about a presentation we made 3 years ago. I can send it to you if you write to me. And I promise we are writing.
Okay, now go back to Cesar's answer, and I get that. Yeah, specifically for software developers.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one is introspection, like this ability to know what do you feel, what do you think. For example, we have found that when we ask about emotions, like please make a list of the emotions you know, we can find like in a minute like 5 emotions. Like that are the basic ones, like happiness, sadness, and that's an issue because you don't really know what you're feeling. Express somehow, but not having a word for that makes difficult to help them. But yes, is they don't know what they feel, they don't know how their thoughts are, and sometimes they don't remember how they did behave, or no, I just answered. What did you answer? I answered this and this and that. Were those the words you use? I don't know. So that's the first one. But after that, communication is key. We have actually 3 levels of communication. Well, actually 4 levels of communication. We have first basic communication agreements for remote working. Then we have basic communication, that is how to create messages and how to what is important in creating messages. Then we have an advanced communication training that is more focused on negotiation and yes, that's the focus. And we are creating more because when you grow, you want to learn more. And the coping skills training is the other one because no one is really trained to cope with stress. This is not just for software developers. I was a teacher years ago, and I faced the same with when students were like, I don't want to read. It was like, maybe you can change your career, because if you want to be a psychologist, you have to read and to talk and to express. So just that stress is important, and they ask for it too. And another thing is leadership. They are asking us to help them with leadership. But if you want to be a leader, what we advise is you have to learn basic skills before, like the ones I said, but also emotional competences, for example. So the thing is, we personalize the intervention. So we, for example, we say, okay, Cesar, this is your diagnosis result. What do you want to do with this? And we like build a pathway where you can go, like, first you can learn this, and then we are going to train you on this and this and this and this. So this is a never-ending program.
It's related with my another question, which is how long does it take? You just said that it takes a whole life, right? But to get the basics, how long do you usually take to get those software engineers to a point where you say, okay, he's okay, he or she is okay to work with us in this development environment?
Well, because our talent acquisition team is really good, people from the beginning is able to work with us and to be in projects, because these psychologists, their work is excellent. we don't say like you cannot work with this. What we can say is like, for example, maybe if you want to be a leader, you have to do this before, but we are going to help you. We don't say no, you are not prepared now. It's like, okay, if you want this, we have to prepare you. The time, well, it depends on the need. An easy one, for example, is time management. It can take 6 weeks, but 6 weeks, but coping skills is 4 or 5 months to be like ready. And we have to follow how is the process. So it depends on the skill.
I think, well, this is just me thinking, actually, speaking out of my mouth, not with all the basis that you have, obviously, but then it's also, some of them, it depends on the skill, and also it depends on the person. Sometimes you have, variable time frames for each person to actually acquire a specific skill. So I just, when working with these things, I just think it's just like you said. It's not that we're going to say no to you, but we're going to, have to deal with your specific circumstances and your environment and how that's going to adapt to what we're doing here. Yeah, it's really interesting. Pollyanna actually said, in replying about her question about social skills training for technology, she said that there are duprats in non-specific social skills training for IT teams. I think, Pollyanna, it would be a great thing for you to actually send an email to Carol, and you guys could talk directly. It would be a very good interaction, I believe.
Yes, please.
Next time, I promise, we'll just, we'll invite you over again at some point, Carol, don't worry, and we'll do a more interactive meet here, and it will probably get a lot more questions.
That sounds great.
All
Yeah,
right.
can I make a last question, Cecilia? I promise this is my last
Of course
one.
you can. Yeah, sure. It's just because I was just, eyeing the time, and Carol, she's here with us for an hour, so we have to respect her time. But
No,
I think
I
one
have
more question,
fun.
Carol. Okay, all right then.
Carol, is that something that you see that schools could do to help this process to start earlier? Like, what can we do here in our academic environment to accelerate this process, to help people to develop those skills sets faster?
Yeah, I don't know how it's there, but I have heard from my developers that they suffer a lot at school because some teachers, professors don't really know about emotions and psychological process, and they, how can I say that? They underestimate them, or they say things that are harmful. For example, someone I always remember is one of my teammates told me that in the engineering class, she heard like, "What are you doing here? Women must be at nursery or psychology." And
Oh, come on. I'm sorry for
yeah, I
my
know. I
reaction.
know. It's like I know that happened like 10 years ago, but still, she remembers, and I remember. And I guess some people is doing that, and some like first, I think you like everyone as a teacher has to learn a bit of how psychological factors influence performance at the school too, and to talk about it, like to say, yes, I know learning this is difficult. I know working studying from home is difficult as is working from home, and how emotions are related. And well, first is that knowledge. Second, I think it will be useful to introduce trainings or classes so the students can take those classes and learn about communication skills, learn, for example, there is something that happened in engineering a lot, and is working with people from the How is the name of this in English? Autism spectrum. Autism
Right.
spectrum, yeah.
Area. If you say it in
It's a
Spanish, we
spectrum.
might understand.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a
yes, that's
spectrum
it.
now. The name changed recently, and we don't know how to work with those people. But we have to talk about neurodiversity too. Diversity is not
Right,
just
on the
gender.
autism spectrum, right?
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, people who are on the spectrum. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
And talk about it and have classes that maybe can help. That's it. It's not easy, but I think those 2 points are
Sure,
the
sure.
base
Well,
here.
Yeah, just
I would like just say thank you. And as you know, we have this research group at Cesar School that is looking at human aspects of software engineers. You are more than welcome to collaborate with us whenever you want.
That's
Cecilia.
beautiful. Yeah, that's what I was actually. That's a very specific thing that Cesar said, and since we haven't had much chance to talk about what actually we are and we do, that's the whole point of Cesar School. Is actually people start at university doing projects together. You know, we have projects that require the students to be in groups and interact with each other, because exactly we as a school, we view that as being, one of the most important skills that you have to have. And your opinions about having to have actual communication and psychology disciplines for people to actually delve into that and be more aware of what's going on, instead of just having the practice and the actual moment where it's happening, would actually be very nice. So follow what Cesar said and keep in touch, and next time we'll have more interaction in our
Sure.
talk.
Thank you
Excellent.
very much.
So, Carol, thank you so very much. This was Carol's talk. We hope to have her over again to talk to you guys. Thank you all for having watched. Next time we'll have a more interactive talk with you, and see you next time. Bye bye all.
Bye.